Hey there, QuaranTeens. Here we are on the second day trying to focus our hearts on God's Word during this time when our social life seems to be totally upside down. And we are now in day 4 of our national, maybe even global attempt at social distancing. I shared with you yesterday about a children's worker back when I was a kid in children's church and how he would rein us back in when we would get out of order by shouting, "Attitude check." And there is something that has been brought to my attention that we might need an attitude check about throughout this whole ordeal. Back when I was a kid, I played baseball, and my dad was trying to coach me one day, and in order to show me how to hit a curveball, he would repeatedly throw me curveballs. At one point while he was coaching me, I was really struggling to hit those curveballs. And so he told me, when I pitch the ball, look at the rotation of the seams on the ball as I pitch it. At first I was puzzled, and I responded, "What seams?" And that incident in my life really shone a spotlight on the fact that I needed desperately to get a good pair of glasses. And this global pandemic has shone a bright spotlight on an area that we probably all need help to grow in. Over the last few days, many people have shared their opinions about what's going on in the world today, and some of those opinions are very helpful and direct our hearts back to God. Some of those opinions are very conspiratorial and make us wonder about the intents of evil men and the decisions that they're making in the world. But one thing has repeatedly reared its ugly head, and that is the fact that some people are using this pandemic as an opportunity to share with all the world that they believe that they've been personally slighted. There's been a lot of whining and complaining about sporting events being canceled, about being out of school, about not being able to go to our favorite restaurants. And what puzzles me about this is that the people that talk this way seem to refer to themselves as if they're the only ones going through this ordeal. And that shines a bright spotlight on an area that we desperately need an attitude check. We need to be content in the state in which we're in. The Apostle Paul encourages us this way in Philippians chapter 4, starting in verse 11. He says, "Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me." And Paul declares here that he can do all things through Christ, and many times this passage gets taken out of context. But in its context, what Paul is referring to is the ability that Christ gives us to be content, whether we are full or hungry, whether we have much or little. And for some of us, as we have temporarily lost the ability to engage in our favorite activities, this has shown a bright spotlight on the fact that we need the power of Christ in order to be content in where he's placed us, whether we are full or hungry, whether we have much or little, that we would look to Christ to satisfy us and not the things of this world. I hope that was encouraging for you here on our 4th day of social distancing. Remember to be content in whatever state you're in, to look to Christ for satisfaction, and remember to encourage one another because we're all in this together. Thanks for joining us here today, and I hope you join us again next time.